that I'm going to forget. So, and then last Saturday I had that problem that in the middle it said, "Oh, my drive ran out of space," and so
Oh,
I only got the first half of last Saturday recorded, and then it turns around and I go and look, and there's no problem with the drive at all. The thing just went crazy. So I just had to reboot and reset the settings in Zoom and it fixed the problem, but it didn't help me in the middle of the session. So today we got the
yeah.
recording started here, so I'll edit out whatever is before the meeting officially begins.
You won't blackmail us, right?
No, no, no. Joan, I'm planning to send you in Helsinki. You might be interested in this as well. There is a sequence of YouTube videos, tutorials on creating educational content, courseware, uh,
Wow.
with amazing capabilities today, using deep research, and these videos provide exact examples of how it requested the deep research. Go through and say, hey, give me all the information I would need for a course, for example, to teach somebody how to play the piano or play the guitar, or you can use it for anything. Do you make a marketing plan, whatever you want to do. And then it created a 40-page course, detailed course outline for everything you need, and then you're able to take that over to Claude 3.7 and dump it in and put in a one line, make me a course out of this. And it will actually develop the entire course. It will even tell you the camera angles for the camera shots and give you the diagrams and the images, gives you the actual script text for every lecture. And it gave, like, for a 4 week course on how to learn to play the piano, and it gave all the lecture details for each of the lectures, all the video instructions for each of the video. It created images showing the keyboard and the finger placements. It generated the whole thing. So it's like a two click, make me a lesson how to do anything, and that could be an entire semester long lesson on how to learn fourth grade math, or how to learn quantum physics at a master's degree level,
Or
or
to learn
Wow.
to plan.
Yeah, and if you haven't used deep research, you really have to become familiar with that. And the other thing is you've really got to become familiar with the advanced voice capabilities, what's called live voice in Gemini, or in ChatGPT, what they call advanced voice, which I understand has this week has become free for everybody, including I think Europe. So um, it it's just mind-boggling. Plus, what they're doing now with the Alexa, with the new Alexa that was just announced, and there's starting to become examples showing out there because you can just say, "Oh, make me an appointment to get my car checked," or make me a doctor's appointment, book a restaurant or book a hotel, book a airline flight for me, find the best one and then book it, and notify all the other people that we got a meeting coming up, notify everybody for the meeting. It's
So we need to look at how we can use that for the SIFA plan.
Well, for the SIFA plan, I can tell you right now, I haven't had a chance to do it, but the whole the arguments, you can actually have it say, make me a convincing presentation that will convince UN ambassadors that they have to support this. You can literally just say that, and it will come up and generate for you an entire presentation. And I think it's very close. If they can't do it today, probably within the next month or two, you'll be able to say, make me a video explaining why every country should be supporting this.
No,
And
no, that is really true. I quite agree because just you introduced us to Chat GTP, and so I've been using that. Um, I I think it was yesterday, we have the women's conference coming up and others. So we have a team working for the women's conference. And I just took the document, for each conference we have a document where people can give their input. I took that document. I added a few points, knowing the perspectives of various people on the team. I took their perspectives and shoved it in, no order, nothing, and said exactly what you said. Make me a convincing, inspiring presentation on why within 2 pages. And it went, brrrt, and there it was. And it was a fantastic document.
Yeah.
And I sent it out, I think, to the team.
So
I
did you upload the document that you had already and then
Yes,
ask the question?
yes. And Joan, you know those documents, they're sort of, well, what is the situation now? What is the
Yeah,
next one come up? What's
yeah,
emerging? I mean, it's sort of really pedestrian.
yeah.
And and I just shoved the whole thing in. I put in the various perspectives of and the project that the team members in this particular conference were involved with. I shoved that in and I said, just create a convincing presentation of why we should. Uh, and then I went to put the general lines that the team had chosen.
So
And
it prepared something that was visual. Did it stay true to the content?
completely, completely. One of the main points was left out, and it was so beautifully laid out, I could just add that one point, and it was complete. It was really,
Wow.
it
That was
was not
using the can that
what Bill was saying. It wasn't sort of a video. It was just the text. But then that's all I had, and that's
Yeah.
all I'm using at this point.
yeah.
It's just the
But
text.
I think the key is the next steps. You were using probably what I showed you was Canvas, using the
And
Canvas.
I used the chat GTP that
Right, but
you
Canvas is one of the settings. The one I showed you was with settings where you can talk to the AI on the left side and the right hand side it's got
Yeah.
your document, right? So,
no,
but
it just had sort of a thing like what you want me to do. And
okay.
I said, create
Okay. Okay.
clarity. I just shoved the text in there, pushed the bot, and
Yeah.
then the
Okay,
thing out.
we can go so much further than that now. Literally here, for example, with this deep research, there's a gentleman who completed his PhD and it took him like 5.5, 6 years. And when you start your PhD work, you have to come up and say, "Hey, this is what I plan to focus on my PhD," and you give the details, and you got to get it approved before you actually begin doing your studies, right? And you get assigned an advisor and so forth and so on.
But
Well, anyway,
if it's a PhD bill, then there's another requirement. A PhD has to be innovative, something.
no, no, exactly. Well, that's the result. But you start off by saying, okay, here's my area that I'm going to be focusing on. Yes, and then to complete it, you've got to come up with something innovative and new. And so you have to do research, right? So this guy took his the proposal that he made and saying when he submitted for his PhD, saying this is what I intend to do research on, that you have to get approved. He just took that brief that he had and he put that into the deep research on chat using ChatGPT, deep research. And it went out and researched like crazy. I don't know how many, maybe 100, 150 best sources, all the research that was being done in different institutions, and it found everything, and then went and synthesized and summarized and all this, and wrote a doctoral thesis on the results.
Wonderful. I know that this is happening because, I have, of course, friends in academia who are dealing with students, and they've discovered this a long time ago. So the professors have become very wily. They see as soon as,
Yeah.
where.
But this is not here to cheat. This is here to facilitate the learning. There was an example, another example. It's a Medicaid or a treatment series for, I think, liver cancer, if I'm not mistaken, that they had been looking for years and years and years, trying to find an effective treatment for this particular kind of liver cancer. And AI came up with it in a matter of days. And it's proven effective. And we're so much of the PhD work. Obviously, you still have to review it, and the this person who had already received his doctorate, done the 5.5, 6 years of work on that, when he went through and he reviewed. By the way, it will even go and set up your peer review appointments and find the appropriate people that would do the peer reviewing. And it but he had some critiques. He said, "Oh, it missed this point, and it missed that source." There was some studies that had taken place in his field, and it says it missed those points. And it says, look, here's one of the things that I had in my doctoral thesis. It missed that point also. And but the thing about it is was it perfect? No. But was it like miles and miles ahead? So it's not just saying, hey, please write an essay for me. Okay, this deep research, you got to look at it because the whole economic factor for the SIFA plan to be able to go and explain and justify and bring in all kinds of quotes from people that explain why something will work and not work. This is all doable with this deep research. It's a
Wonderful.
new, totally
Wonderful.
new thing.
Yeah, I can see that as a doctoral tool, it wouldn't work because when one assesses a doctoral student, it's not so much on what they write, it's also on who they've become. And in the sort of doctoral work that I've worked with students,
Right.
it's in who they've become and how they have integrated the knowledge so that they can practice as a professional. Anyway, but let's
Yeah,
not go into
yeah,
that.
no, we
Let's
can
go
we
for the
talked that.
secret plan now.
We've
And
we've we've only got a couple of people here so far. I'm hoping Lloyd's going to join us shortly. Yvonne is not going to be able to make it this morning. I'm hoping that Amos will be joining us. I'm going to send them out.
just put out a quick note to them and then
Yes,
continue. Because if we have to wait until people drift in, that's going to be,
and yes, and I have a hard stop. I have a hard stop at quarter after the hour.
so
Uh,
we have to really make sure we get the work done before then.
right.
And we'll
Yvonne
start,
is not coming. She's
Yes.
on a trip. Yeah.
Yes.
right, you mentioned that, Joe, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh, okay. So, okay. Okay. I'm going to give him just a quick call.
Great. Joan, are you there?
I am.
Oh, good. Yeah, because I didn't see any input from you or for Bill. Yvonne did an amazing job in putting out a huge outline of at least things that really made me feel very
Yes,
humbled.
Lasinka, Joan put in a lot of comments. I've incorporated her comments into the document. So I took all the comments that were there as of last night, and I went and put those into the document. I actually
Wonderful.
went a little far because we had Edward actually he put in comments as opposed to suggestions of changes. And I was just going down and clicking on all the check
Yeah.
boxes here. And what it does is it says, okay, recognized, erase this now. So I had to go back and recover them. So all the ones that you see that say, hey, um, deleted
Yeah,
by
I noticed
mistake.
I noticed it because the way you'd responded to some of the things I'd said,
Yeah.
which you said agreed, but it wasn't something to agree to or anything like that. But no, but that's very good. And I just went through the document again. I added some more points. So Joan and Bill, what did you both decided for today? What are we achieving today?
I think what we just need to do is we need to, because this is recorded, so I'm going to edit out all the stuff we talked about before, so we get down just to the nitty gritty. But the key thing is, I think we should just walk through what's there. Now, I'm going to be very dependent on Lisinka, you and Joan commenting on the comments that are here. So I'm going to put the
And we also
shared.
have a few. I've noticed, Sarah, you're here, but there was also one or two others who were here just now. And of course, you're
Whoop, sorry, we just lost.
just the last. So the others that are new, that are not sort of old hands, are very useful
Yeah.
in in this process too.
Exactly. And the thing here is I don't know. Lloyd is he's online, but he hasn't read this and he didn't pick up my call. So he may be on another call right now. I don't know. And I'm gonna just try Amos real quick. Um, oh, and Mohammed, we definitely want to try to get Mohammed there.
Yes, absolutely. Are you putting it out on the whole SIFA thing?
No, I was just specifically to Lloyd because I literally tried to call to get him to just make sure he get his attention so he would see that.
Okay, so let me see.
Yeah, if you could put something to the general group.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and that's to
I
Amos and
try to
then
find the
Mohammed. Okay, I'm gonna so I just sent to Mohammed, Amos, and Lloyd asking if they could join us now. And if you put it out to the main group. In the meantime, I'm also going to um, share my screen here. I'm going to let me just increase the size of the font to make everything more visible. Okay. Um, oh, and on this, just a general comment here. Um, I have an account, the account where I have the supplementary income for all website, and it enables me to set up sort of like practice websites, and using WordPress. Uh, I forget what the name of it is. Commerce. Uh, what is it called? Something press as well, but it's basically it sets up a marketplace. It sets up a place
Hmm.
for you to record products and set it up. And so we would be able to use that. I'm happy to allow we to create a practice or a sample website there where we can then just go in and say do this and make it look like that. You can also, Lisinka, using that canvas on ChatGPT, um, you can go in and instead of using it and writing text, you can tell it, please make me a digital marketplace website. Um,
Wow.
and it will literally, that's all you have to say. Make me a digital marketplace website, and it'll generate one for you. You just talk to it in English, and then you can talk to it and say, "Oh, can you modify this part? And can you modify that part?" And it will generate for you a website. It's not working in the sense that uh, because it doesn't have a database behind it, so it's not going to actually store the data. You'd actually have to, uh, well, actually, we could probably take that into the sample the website that I talked about that we could create in and with my account, and that will generate the database behind the scenes. So we probably literally in a couple of hours just by talking to it generate a digital marketplace.
That's
Um,
wonderful, Bill. Just as you saw, I put out again with ChatGTP, using ChatGTP, I created this inspirational paper asking governments to join, etc. You received all that, right?
yeah.
And the thing is that while we've been working on the pilot project, of course, we've had the financing for development moving ahead. And we need to continue to bring attention to the SIFA plan as a whole,
Right.
even while we're working on the chat GT on the thing. So I did do that one mailing, which I sent out to everyone and asked input from you guys, and then I sent that out to everyone. Um, so there'll be another financing for development conference coming up on the 31st of April, 1st of May.
Mhm.
And we plan to have another, a slightly different mailing to go out to that in time. So
There's
if it would be possible, Joan and Bill, to keep going with putting out the SIFA plan as a whole
Mhm.
while we're working on the pilot, that would be useful because we want to keep drawing attention to it and the ways in which it can help them
Yeah. There,
to
there,
achieve.
there there is a thing here. If you go into any of the research mode or even the mode you were using, and ask about the development goals, the UN development goals, and because the financing is for the achievement of the development goals, and if you when it first comes
So the
back,
financing, Bill, the financing is financing for development, which predates by far the SDGs. So
no, no, I know, but the problem
they
is
are
here.
also looking at implementing the SDGs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not so much related to the SDGs. It's the problem is that what it saw as development, where it was saying, hey, providing job opportunities and education and things like this for in that direction. Those things that were the goal of the development side, forget the financing, just the development side. The if you dig into going into ChatGPT, for example, and you ask it about the development goals that are behind the Financing for Development Conference, and then ask it about, well, what do they see as the impact of the new technologies during the next couple of years related to those development? It basically says the development goals that are being mentioned under the Financing for Development, the goals themselves are obsolete because what they're envisioning as development is not going to be applicable in as little as 2 years. And so it will give you literally a 10-page explanation with links to citations and all this stuff of why. So one of the big challenges is here at the UN, because the UN moves very slow. So they set a goal and they work towards the goal, but they don't really pay a lot of attention to whether the goals are still relevant because the world is changing so fast that the world that those goals were defined in doesn't exist anymore, will not exist anymore before they're able to actually do anything towards those goals. And
Means that then Joan and Bill, that means therefore that we have to take a different tact. We have to take the future developments and the developments that are already happening,
Mhm.
and those are the ones that are going to speak most loudly to a slow-moving organization like the UN. So the changes that are already happening and show how that requires different things of us. And I think that will really, attract attention.
And it really supports the SIFA plan, if you would, not every single aspect of it, but in general, the changes that are happening out there in the world that are going to change development actually move us more to needing something like the SIFA plan. So we're able to actually go and say, hey, people, wake up. These changes are taking place in the world. And therefore, within 1, 2, 3, 5 years, these are the changes that are probably going to be necessary. Therefore, we need a solution that has certain characteristics. And those
Yes.
characteristics are much more aligned with many of the features of the SIFA plan than the current one. Because
And,
the
and how do you see that, Bill, specifically?
well, I think here, number one is just to say here, look, okay, what is the UN moving towards what's their goal development wise? What do they see the world looking like if they achieve the development goals? And then pointing out why that world is probably not going to happen, and therefore what is going to be different, and how do the solutions need to be different to work in that future world, and then bring in those features, just like in Koistra's book. He starts off talking about the problems of the existing world and so forth, and then talking about the needed functionalities before he gets into describing the plan. And I think that's the exact same way we can do it, but we just need to modernize to be able to point out that, look, here's the projection of how the world's moving, and we're going to need solutions that are different from the way things are working right now today. And that's what the SIFA plan is. The SIFA plan is saying, hey, we need solutions that work different from the way the world works right now today. And so, but what will help is to be able to explain, well, why do we need something different from the way the world works today? And we can say it's because that world is changing so fast, and give the concrete examples of how and why it's changing.
Yeah. Shall we
Anyway,
focus on the work that everybody has been doing so far
yeah.
so that we can get that done, that we can decide on that?
Okay. So let's go. Can you see my screen now, everybody? Well,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
go here and move that so I get a little bit more on the screen. I hope the text is large enough now. And let me see, I'll move this down at the bottom here. Okay. So, Lasinka, you had added some new comments. I'm going to go click on the plus, and we'll just move these over into the actual text here as we come to them. Okay, so um, do you want to walk us through the?
No, I suggest that Joan do it because you've also given your input, and I'd like, that way you can sort of take over Joan, and because you've given so, input to it and sort of lead the conversation, and then Bill and I can respond as needed, and you yourself can also respond, Would that be something to start with that?
Um, well, I would prefer Phil or you did it because I think you guys understand the full thing more than I do. I tend to like, first of all, I think that the as you know, I'm not 100% for the SIFA plan the way it is, because I do like, so I still struggle with that, to be honest. But I know that everyone has made the decision, so I'm trying to be respectful to the wisdom of the commons. So I would prefer not to be the one that leads this right now.
June,
Okay.
I think one way in which you can be extremely useful is you're saying, well, there's some aspects that I go along with, others that are not that clear to me. And
Everything is clear.
oh, it
I
is.
understand the plan. So because I'm making sure that I do understand it, I don't agree with the exact plan, is what I'm saying.
Okay, and let's look at those parts as we go through so that we can
Yeah.
thrash those
I
out.
like to, so to clarify, I usually like to work on things and identify what I'm in control of to make the decision to move it forward and what I'm not in control of and what are the ways to get that. If like for example, if we're asking the UN to make the decision, what is a plan to do that? What is the plan for us to make the plan itself for the market global marketplace? And are people wanting to have that? So if that's a yes, then we identify what we have to do and identify what we are not in control of and how we're going to get there. So, I mean,
Well,
everyone's going to agree on the decision-making process, but will it work? We see it, to me, it's replacing what the UN is doing, and that's just like a nightmare to me. Sure, it's grassroots and it's respectful and all of that, but we see you get bogged down in time and space. So how do we overcome that? Maybe that's a question we should ask. How do we overcome that?
Well,
Um,
for today's, the goal for today, though, was to try to get the list of functions to be included in the mock-up, if you would, or the pilot for the pilot project. That was the goal, and that was what Yvonne had started.
right.
So maybe here in the interest of time, if we can just go through the document real quick, because
yeah.
it's going to take more work. As Lysinka pointed out, not everybody has commented yet, and I went and sent out a reminder to people to please. If they hadn't commented here, now we've got, I think, four or five. I have I did not comment because I had made that other document earlier, and I didn't want to flay. I wanted to get other people's input in before I put my thoughts to that.
And
So
did you put a timeline on people's input?
yeah, well, we put the timeline was Saturday night, so that's what we originally said.
Okay. It's
So
just to say that we have done that, and so people can come back and say, "Well, I didn't have a
right.
chance."
Well, but the thing
Right?
about it is what I didn't do as much as I should have is I've seen in the past, you got to go out and send like three or four reminders all
Yeah.
along. But you can't. So
You're
there
really
was
good
just
at that, Bill. Really, I must say, I really commend you on that.
so.
Um,
But if we could just go through because I think we could
Okay.
do this first part really quick because
yeah, let's do that. How do you want to do it? Do you want to read it through and then
I'll just read through the headlines on this if you would, and let me just put highlight colors on
And
these.
then are you going to add what we're saying or no?
I will try. I will try, but
Okay.
probably here because I'm not the fastest in trying to type or stuff like that. So what I would suggest here is that as we go through, if you've got a point, make a note of it and then enter it into the document afterwards. Okay, so in other words, add the comments that come up. But I think what's really important is this first part here is not the function list that we're trying to get. These were just general comments out there about uh, what we need to include or do with regards to this. So if I think we can go through these really quick, what it is. The first comment was, okay, that what we need to include in this document of functions is what to leave out and what to keep in the pilot. That's the way I'm interpreting what's being said here, is that we're trying to understand, hey, this is what we need to leave out and or that we're going to leave out, and this is what we're going to keep in the pilot. So when we go down and look at the list of functions, that it takes that in consideration. And then is it already being done? This is saying, hey, is okay. The what we're putting into the pilot is this just something that's never been done, and we're coming up with some new suggestions here, or is this something that people are already doing? And it's a double-edged sword because on the one hand, we're trying to have a proof of concept. We're trying to show things that people might be skeptical about, that it's doable. But if it's already being done in a lot of places, we have to really ask ourselves, do we still need to show that? In other words, if we can just point out and say, look at all these places, they're already doing that, then do we need to do it ourselves to prove it? Or is it enough of a proof just to point out what they're already doing?
So comment on that, Bill, and that is that yes, it's highly important. The fact that there are 10,000 eco-village types of projects, at least, that are already applying the three aspects of the plan is extremely important, both because it proves that it is something that is not only important, but that people are actually doing it and it's doable. And the second point is that knowing that others are doing what we want to do will enable us to reach out and to make connections.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah.
the eco villages, of course, Rob is a big friend of long standing.
Yeah,
Uh, so
but the thing about it is what we're saying is, hey, if it's already being done, that's enough. We don't necessarily have to prove it anymore because we can just point to all the successful examples out there. So for
No,
the purpose,
I want to just say that that is not altogether true, because what we're trying to do is to make it global. And having already a lot of projects at the local level doing it would then be an indicator of how we can move to go from the grassroots up to the global. That's just one of the directions we want to take. And so it would be a question of pointing out which ones are already doing it and then doing outreach to them so that we can piggyback on each other's work and connect and show the importance of working together to create a global situation which embodies the aspects that everybody's trying to include at the local level.
okay, I think
Bill, when we're designing it, is there a way to, instead of having one choice of people paying in currency or payment, whatever terminology we want to use, or is it that we could actually make it global by encouraging existing platforms? So, for example, the Eco Village, if somebody's a member of the Eco Village, there's a platform that they identify that they can, they're a member and they're buying it through that, and then we make some of the money or something like that? Or is that too complicated?
No,
uh,
I don't think it is complicated, Joan, but I'm wondering because I think that besides we do have a national currency in the LET system, but I think that what my understanding and I really I've tried to look at it all, but obviously I don't know everything. But most of the projects are local, so you have sort of like a little local economy, and there
Yeah.
you have sort of like a I owe Joe and so much, and Bill owes me so and so much, and so it's sort of like a little local community. And the let system is in fact a local economic
Right.
trade system. You use
But what I'm
national.
saying, I understand all of that. What I'm trying to say is, are we um, creating a global marketplace where there's only one central payment, or do we want to work with the local organizations in their community that already are existing?
There are different ways of doing that. One way that is already being done is that they have a lot of little local economies, and then they have started getting together at a regional or and so they've expanded it using software which allows them to connect various local economies into a more regional one.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I'm never a fan of having a centralized system that dictates this is how you're going to do it, because that's how we get into trouble as human beings, you know?
the one piece here that we have to watch out for is if we have a fragmented, it kind of one of the big dangers that we're looking for right now with the whole UBI, and as I mentioned in the strategy meeting on Saturday, that there is the rumor going around that Musk's ultimate goal is to remove the humans from the government so he can replace them with AI and robotics, which are two of his biggest ventures that he is doing out there. And he's a big proponent of UBI as well. So the idea here is that if we go on from the bottom up locally, that will see Europe and North America, the countries with a high per capita GDP, implementing a UBI, but because they will have ceased trading with the developing world and they will have basically cut off any need to interact with the developing world, that the developing world could be left high and dry on, to, either whatever you can do, you do. And if you have the bad luck to be in a geographic area that's subject to floods and droughts and the soil's not good to grow things and there's no transportation means and infrastructure, hey, tough luck. So this was very, very important in Koistra's whole philosophy that we need a global solution because otherwise it's going to be those that have the good fortune that have to be sitting on land that has oil or gas under it or gold nearby or lithium and those types of things, rare earths. They're going to say it's mine, it's all mine, and they're going to.
I'm not saying not to have a global system. I'm agreeing with the global system.
Yeah.
I am saying is do not eliminate the local systems.
Oh yeah, no, I think the idea is when you go Facebook has that, what is it, the Facebook marketplace or whatever they
Yeah,
call it. Okay. And people typically, they're looking for goods where they can just drive and pick stuff up. So you restrict your search in many cases to your vicinity.
right.
And so I think this is going to be for many, many things, naturally, you're not going to attend a course that's a physical course that's being given 1,000 miles away. And so the system needs to be able to accommodate that kind of consideration, maybe. But on the same token, do we want to go and say, oh no, you must buy locally. You're not allowed to buy from the 10 villages away. But you might be saying, hey, but that's what I want. That's what I need. We don't have locally what I want. You don't tell me I've got to buy something that's inferior just because it's local when I want to buy that better, that more suitable to me product or service that's
But I'm not saying that at all.
mhm,
What I'm saying, I'm not a one this side or this side
yeah,
kind of person, okay? You should know that by now. I'm saying is if we're coming in to be for all people, then we have to respect all people and their mechanisms that are already in place.
mhm,
So to go in and I mean we see this in colonialization, they go in and they wipe out the infrastructure because we have a better answer.
yeah,
I'm not going to be privy to that because of technology and I'm trying to save the world or whatever. What I'm saying is I'm not trying to save the world. I am trying to respect the world. And so the way of doing that is to say, okay, Africa has these systems, Europe has these systems, Canada have these systems, South Asia has these systems. We should not be replacing them.
no,
We should be, I will never agree to something like that.
yeah, no, I think this is
They have to be able to, we have to be able to respect their local systems or countrywide systems, but have them access the global
right,
system.
right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We have George has joined us here.
Yeah,
So
welcome, George.
yes. George, just wanted to fill you in on what we're doing. We were just sort of walking through the first part of the document that's out there. And the whole first part of the document is just really saying, okay, the document is intended to guide us through what we want to leave out and what we want to keep in as far as the pilot goes, uh, uh, going and pointing out that we need to be able to highlight what's being done already, and then be able to describe what the value added is of the stuff that we're leaving in the pilot. Why are we leaving it? What's the value of those types of things? And then what makes this unique from the SIFA perspective? What is it that we're doing in SIFA that is maybe not being done out there otherwise, and it doesn't, that goes beyond just the pilot as well, because we're looking also at the things that are that will first be fully realized when we've got the complete SIFA plan in place. So just to fill you in on what we're doing, and we're going to continue on going through the document, because the purpose of the document in the end is really to come up with a function list. Yvonne was suggesting we make a wireframe, or just making a functional demo of what the site that the pilot has. What would it look like? What are the functionalities that would include? How do you do the things that are involved in it? So to be able to make a wireframe showing how those functionalities work, we first need to have a list of what are the functionalities to be included in that pilot. So this document, it's a first stab, and not everybody commented. We were hoping to have pretty much everybody put their thoughts into this document, so that we get as comprehensive a list as possible of the functionalities that we would want to include in the pilot.
Yeah,
So
but then one more I wanted to add that people like, for instance, Edward and Amos have given a lot of input, really useful input on tariffs and things like that. But they did that in the in the WhatsApp, so they didn't actually put it in the document.
Yeah, but
so
they need to put it in the document. It's
yes.
They
hard
do,
to
Joe.
go,
Yes.
So
like,
yeah, go ahead, John.
no, I'm just saying that then would have to look through that and say,
Yeah,
oh, this is I'm sorry, that's not acceptable.
yeah,
So what we need to do is specifically tell them, here's the link, here's where you have to answer, and you have this time to do it, and don't bring it up later that you didn't have a chance. I mean, we have to tell them that.
yeah.
Or did you happen to have an input in the document already?
George, you're muted.
You're still muted. You're still muted.
If you could unmute yourself, George.
It's the
Okay,
bottom
okay.
left-hand corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for the great work you are doing. Really appreciate for joining later facilitating Uganda Commission. First of all, I've been up and down. I've been able to read through what the document is talking about, but some of the highlights have reassured that we have a vision, and I'm very glad that the vision bearers of this SIFA plan, you are doing a good job, and hopefully in the near future we shall achieve the goals we are looking for. I'm really grateful for what you're doing, and I submit to first listen with the conversation, then I can come in later with the message. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
thank you, George. But what I was asking is, did you have a chance to comment on the document itself?
Not yet.
Could you please spend some time and do that? Because we need to have, because later we don't want to hear from you or anyone else that you didn't have a chance and you didn't agree to it. So either look at it and say, yes, this is great, or whatever. But we need people to look at it and give us feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking you're agreeing, but
Yeah.
your
We can't hear, but
sound
George,
was a bit off.
George, I'm going to be sending out
Sorry.
a further reminder, and also well, as we go through the document here, we'll see. I think we need to have a section at the bottom where we literally just summarize the list of functions, the functionalities, because that's the purpose here, is to be able to have a starter document to use Yvonne has apparently got some contacts with somebody that will help make the wireframe, but we have to provide them with the list of the functions included in the wireframe. So that
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Lloyd.
hi Lloyd.
I
Hello.
just wanted to mention uh, yesterday I ran because I do have a notebook LM for the SIFA plan, um, and I took the transcript of our last meeting last week and pumped it through Notebook LM. And I produced two documents. One is a PDF. It's in this UnityNet and SIFA Plan UBI chat group with yourself, Bill, and Lasinka. So there's two documents in there. The second document was my request from Notebook LM to provide a map of the functionalities and processes of the SIFA Plan marketplace. So there is, it basically ended up being a very short document that where it did the analysis of what's probably necessary. So there is kind of a bit of an outline there as well, if you want to take a look at that.
Yeah. Lloyd, you weren't here at the beginning, and actually, I guess it was before the formal meeting started. One of the things, since deep research is now available, and I think, Lloyd, if you go here to ChatGPT on your smartphone, it doesn't work on the laptop yet, but on the smartphone, they've
Yeah,
now extended deep research to the smartphone. It's a little telescope-like symbol on the bottom of when you're in ChatGPT 4.0,
yeah.
that you have that there. What we really
No,
need.
but this is based on on our internal
No,
chats.
no, that's
So I
my
took the
point.
transcript from the video
Yes, that
and
was my.
everything that it's
Yeah, but that's my point, because what we concluded in the meeting was we need to go to a document and create a comprehensive list of the functionalities. In other words, we can't take those functionalities from our meeting because we did not discuss those functionalities in any detail yet. So we need to get the input on the
well,
function.
it was, but I mean, this is based on more than one document, right?
Well, Dave, when you go and
But
do,
I mean, just take a look just to
yeah,
see what's there.
yeah, no, we'll definitely look at that. But what I'm suggesting here is that we do
Because
deep,
it made a recommendation.
yeah, okay, take a look. Um, and the idea, though, on top of that, is with the deep research, we can now go out and say, in general, what are the functionalities needed for a digital marketplace? And then we can go in and add what additional functionalities would be needed if we want to include, for example, the sustainability or the decision-making part or whatever. And we can have it
Which
help.
was
Then
incorporated. Yeah.
why don't we just immediately include what you have? Because what we're trying to do today, I understand, is to take the whole, all the input that was given into this particular document, go through it ourselves, and then I think, therefore, that means, therefore, that Lloyd, what you've put in, if you would like to add that to the document right now, and that we have all of the material together. And then after that,
Okay.
we chat GTP to actually, in 2 minutes, to create a very clear outline
Exactly. It's
points. And we don't have to,
Actually,
as long as we've got all of the elements that we want to have.
Lasinka, what you're suggesting is actually a really good idea, that we take this document with the
and
input that people are putting in, and we hand this over and put it into ChatGPT Canvas and say, hey, restructure this
Yes.
to be optimally understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
mhm.
that
One thing, Bill, I wanted to ask is, I know there's going to be lots of, anyway, is that when on the page, if you go up where they're putting their names and information in, is that there is a form or something like that, that right at the onset before they're even accepted, that they write something as to what their product is, why it's sustainable, and why we should, like, right at the onset. so that later we can go back and say, this is what we understood. So when they're agreeing to the criteria of the sustainable product and services, they've already written it, and we can that will help anybody that has to adjudicate or oversee the any misconception, because then you take their own writing instead of the interpretation.
Joan, that's the type of thing here. If you could add that as a comment into here on the sustainability point, that it's important for the people who are entering a product or service they'd like to offer, that they include their comments as to the justifiability vis-a-vis sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm realizing here, looking at the time, it's almost 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, I can only stay till 10:15. So we're not going to be able to go.
So I'm going to put it,
Yes, Lloyd.
I'm going to put this into the chat cut from that PDF document because I can't access obviously the actual word that's being shown.
Well, that's a Google Docs that's being shown. So if you click on the link, I think because I'm one user in here. There can be multiple users, and everybody's got
Okay.
comment suggestion rights. So you should be able to go in and put that in. I don't know if we will see them pop up real time here or not.
Okay, let me click that link.
Yeah, that would be great
Okay.
to put in. And also, George, if you have things that you still want.
Pardon, Lucinka, are you talking to me?
No, I was talking to because you'd already given a lot of input, and of course, anything that you want to put in should be
Somebody
Okay.
should be muted because I hear chatter.
George, are you trying to, George, are you speaking?
No, I think
I
he's
can
got
hardly hear you,
background noise.
Lucinka. I don't know if it's me or.
No, George had some background noise, but he's muted himself now. So
Okay, sorry, Lucinka.
Yeah, so what I want to suggest is we need to get this work done. We've got in front of us a document which a lot of people have given input to. Joan and Bill have gone through it, and they've made it into a cohesive document. I went back and added some things. I hope you'll excuse me. Now, what we're in the process now of finally getting final points in, say, from George and Lloyd, who hadn't yet put their final things in. Now, the thing is, we have 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, what we could do is to finish off what we've done. What we have in front of us is a document in which Yvonne has done a wonderful idea of sort of putting out all of the aspects. All of us have done our best to give our input within the timeframes that we had. We now have a fairly cohesive document. It's not going to include everything in the world that's going to have to go in. But what it does do, it contains all the details that we'll need for the marketplace to start. It's comprehensive enough for that. I suggest that now we've given the input, we don't have to go over it as a group.
no,
It's not to say, well, I like what so-and-so says and I don't like what so-and-so says. We've basically all had a chance to look at it. I think we're all basically in agreement that the input we've had has been really dynamite good. And I think that all we need to do now in the last 7 or whatever 13 minutes that we have is just to put that into ChatGTP and say, okay, and now what is the question we want to ask? And we'll get that in 2 minutes. And then we'll have completed this work for now.
yeah,
And we can always go back and add to it. But then we will have taken a huge jump now. It's not necessary for us to go over it again and again and again. It's because everybody's had a chance to do that. So if we then put this in now, what are we trying to accomplish with this document? What is the question? Is it sort of an outline for a marketplace, an outline for what? What is it that we're trying to accomplish?
1 minute.
Functionality.
Okay, Joan, can you put that in a longer sentence?
Well, I mean, the very first thing is to define what it is that we want to do, right? Like, how will it work? So how will the platform function? what kinds of questions, what kinds of how will we list the product or services, things like that, so that um, people are aware, so that there's a wireframe, so from one database to the next, and that they're linked up. We just want to know how it will function.
Okay, that's great. That's brief. Is there anything that somebody wants to add or modify in this? Okay, so then all we need to do now is to take that, and I've seen Bill, you've done cut and pasted it. Can you just cut and paste that into GTP? I can do it as well, and then we'll ask GTP, please take the following text and outline clearly what will be needed to show the functionality of the pilot project. So Joan, you said, how will the pilot project function? Then we can say, ChatGTP, would you please answer how will the pilot project function using the following elements? So should we do that? Go to
Okay,
chat.
you're sharing. I'm sharing the screen right now. What it's actually doing is I asked it. See if I can get back up to the top. I can't do that while it's writing. But the it's you can see it on the screen. I hope as it's
Hmm.
writing here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So when this is finished, I'm going to copy and put this into another Google Doc, and we can share this revised Google Doc here. And we have to first see what it's going to look like, obviously. But it looks like it's structured. I think in a way what we need for a person to sit there and put a wireframe on it or whatnot, you almost have to say, okay, we got a website. That's the highest level in the outline. And then underneath that, we have to be able to say, okay, here's the front page and here's the different menu items. So there might be add products and services.
Bill, as you say that, now let's make a list of that and then copy and paste
Oh,
that.
it's in the video here that we've got, and we're going to be able to make a
The
transcript.
ChatGPT is making it for us.
Right? Yeah. So
So,
it's
Bill, you have outlined those points and said to ChatGPT, would you please do it? And this is what's happening right now.
yeah. All I said here is to make it so that it's functional, understanding the functionalities that are needed for a digital marketplace. That's all I said.
So
Taking
may I make a point here though, Bill? I
yeah.
thought what I think this is great, by the way, but what I thought Lysinka meant, and I agree to as well, is taking the document that we have right now
Yes.
and ask them to translate it into this
Oh,
functionality.
that's what
That's
I did. That's what I did.
okay, okay, okay.
I cut and pasted the other
Restructure your
document.
content into
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
functionalities for the SIFA marketplace, organizing it into sections for user accounts, marketplace operations, training, use cases, currency management, and key considerations. Let me know
Wow.
if refinements or additional details.
Okay.
So what we
Yeah.
can do now is then we have the final outcome document of the work that we've done in the last 2 weeks. And that we can pass along to the whole group and say, this is what we've achieved in the last 2 weeks. And now what are the next steps? And that's Joan and Bill as leaders of this project, and hopefully Edward and Lloyd with your input. What is the next step that needs to be taken? That will then go out to the group. So this is what we've achieved. These are the next steps that need to be taken. And could you please do it in the next 7 days?
Yeah.
We will begin the meeting on time.
Yeah.
And we ask that all of you who are interested in the SIFA plan to come to the meeting. If there are very big objections to the timing, please let us know and we'll try and reorganize something to that effect.
Okay. Just so you can see over here on the left-hand side of my screen, you can see where my mouse is moving around. That is what I asked ChatGPT Canvas to do. And then where it starts off, SIFA Marketplace Platform Flow, that's the title of our document. So everything,
Yeah.
this is what I copied in. Okay.
Perfect, perfect. So this can go out onto our SIFA
Now
group.
I'm gonna have to copy this over and then put and load it into a Google Doc and then share that. So
Yeah.
So then people can comment on this as well.
Wait a minute,
Fantastic.
Bill, but so what are the next steps going to be? Because I think that everybody has to realize we've had 2 weeks to do this. Everybody's had an option.
One of
Those
the
that
things
are
that we have
interested in,
one of the things we have to do is we're going to take this, we're going to load this, either do it here with this document, and we're going to say, if somebody is trying to create a wireframe, is this adequate for them? Or if not, what's missing? Those are the kinds of steps we need to do. We have to be very careful. One of the things that over the years, our impatience has caused us to fail to be able to complete things. Okay.
that's me completely. Impatience.
Not just that, you don't want anyone to come back and say they did not have a chance, because that's where people, I've done a lot of community engagement, and people say, well, I didn't agree to it. And I always go back and say, actually, you did. Here is the document.
So then, therefore, the question is, Bill, so you're saying everybody, and Joan, everybody has to agree to it. So that's the first thing we
No,
put this,
everybody has to have input.
everybody has had time for input. They've already had 2 weeks to put in. And
Yeah,
we've made
but
it.
yeah, but listen, I never know what is your hurry. I'm sensitive to fastness, okay? Community consultation takes time. We do have to put a timeline on it and be fair to people as well, right? 2 weeks seems like a long time. It doesn't seem like a long time to me. I mean,
To me, it seems an eternity with Trump in the White House.
well, yeah, yeah, okay, I take it back.
And so
Um,
by the time we've done it, then Canada will be a province of a
no,
state
no, no.
states.
We'll die for
State.
Canada first. It won't happen. Or not the way he thinks. Yeah. So I think that we have to do our due diligence and consult with our constituency. I'm
All right.
sorry, we do have to do it.
I give up.
I want it
Oh,
done.
you're
It was
right,
me
Joe.
that was,
I know
remember,
you're
it
right.
was me.
I
Yeah,
know
it
you're
was me
right.
that was
I'm
pushing
fighting
this.
myself.
Yeah, no, no, I was pushing this. I want something done, but we are doing something and we must do it correctly.
Yes, I quite agree, and
Okay.
thank you.
While you guys were talking here, if you'll notice, I just asked the question here because this is the way that this works with Canvas and ChatGPT. So I just asked the idea is here on the left-hand side, I can talk to the AI. On the right-hand side is our document. I just asked this now. I said, is this document adequate for someone to build a wireframe demonstration model for a website with the digital marketplace? That's all. So let's see what it says.
Yes, this document
Strong
provides a
foundation.
strong foundation for building a wireframe demonstration model for a digital marketplace. It clearly outlines key functionalities, user flows, and system components necessary for structuring the user interface, UI, and user experience, UX. However, to ensure a smoother transition from concept to wireframe, here are some enhancements that could further support the design process. Enhancements for wireframing readiness: visual flow of user actions. Add a step-by-step user journey, e.g., user logs in, right pointing arrow searches for a product, right pointing arrow selects an item, right pointing arrow completes the transaction. Include wireframe level UI components, e.g., navigation bar, buttons, category filters. Marketplace page layouts. Define the main sections of the website: homepage, product listings, product details, checkout, user dashboard. Specify essential UI elements, e.g., search bar, filters, sustainability badges,
Okay,
currency
I'm not
display.
going to let this
Interaction and
continue.
decision points. Where to
Why
use
did it include that in the first place? So put that down
sustainability
as the
quiz before
enhancement.
listing a
Because it
product.
took our document.
How does arbitration work
Uh,
visually? E.g.,
okay.
review button.
Okay.
Now it's suggesting better than
Wait.
what we've
So
written
I'm
So
going
put
already.
to
that
now
down at
say,
the bottom as well.
so
So
I'm going to say here,
just
please.
add it to the document. You don't have to fit it in anywhere. Just add that to the document and then ask them to make a
Well,
cogent.
no, wait a minute.
Put
Wait
it
a
in
minute.
as an appendix or something.
Please modify the document to include such
Suggestions.
aspects
as you
and
suggest,
structure it
as you have suggested.
for easy understanding. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm on the left-hand side giving instructions, but notice the right-hand side is being rewritten.
Updated. Wow. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that. You told me about the canvas and I loved it. And you can also go into it and add things, which is
absolutely.
fantastic.
You can go in and do custom changes on the line.
Yeah.
And if you, well, it's not finished, so you can't see it. But once it's finished writing here, over here, I can edit anything myself. But I also have, oh, on the left-hand side, I can request changes to the entire document. But over here, there's a little button when it's finished writing, a little icon will pop up when I mouse over a paragraph. And now I can put in a comment and say, please redo just that one paragraph. I don't have to redo the whole document. I can
Okay.
redo
Wow.
paragraph by paragraph here. And I can say, make that more detailed, make it less detailed. Include this aspect that you hadn't included. So it's not just editing the text and the wording. You can actually uh, modify the meaning and intent, or even the style. And you can't see it because it's right now in the process. It's still working. That's why over here on the bottom of the right-hand side of my screen, which I don't know if you can see,
Yeah.
it says cancel is my only option because that's there. But normally when this is finished writing, I can say, oh, you know what? The document's gotten too long. Shorten the whole document. It'll make it more concise. Or I can say, no, expand on it, give me more details. And it gives me a slider and says, how much more do you want, or how much less do you want?
Bill,
It'll also,
can I suggest that the final thing that you do with this document, because we need to get it out and so that it can be looked at and in time for next meeting,
yeah.
that is that you say to the chat GTP, take this document and without losing any of the meaning and without any inspiration, please cut this down to 2 pages. I think
Yeah,
two.
you can. Here's see where it says now over on the right hand side. I'm moving up, and I can do this. It just will suggest edits, just like we were doing over in the Google Docs. It will do it for us. It'll go in paragraph by paragraph and suggest improvements. If I click on this particular function, if I click on this function, it adjusts the length. So when I click on that, you'll notice I can go keep the current length. I can make it longer. I make it longest, or I can make it shorter or the shortest. And I can come up to the next one here and say the reading level. I can say keep the current reading level or move it to a high school level, or a college level or a graduate school. I can
Wow.
drop it down to middle school level, reading level, or even kindergarten reading level. So, and
Is
then
this the paid version that you have or?
I yes, I have a paid version. It's the $20 a month version. I don't know if this is only available in that or not, because
Right.
Lasinka, you were using Canvas, right?
No, I don't know if it was Canvas, but I'm using what you gave me, which is ChatGTP, as far
Yeah,
as
well,
I know.
this is within ChatGPT. When you come up at the top, it's not going to show me there, but maybe over here. You see where I can pick which model. I can use the advanced reasoning or different other models, and then because I'm using the 4.0 model, it gave me the option down at the bottom to say you can say I want to use Canvas, I want to use deep research, I want to import files, I want to create images. You can do all those kinds of things. So, but the idea here now, this particular thing here is, so you wrote a document, right? Now, is it
Mhm.
pretty or is it not pretty? Who knows? So if I click on this button over here and say add final polish, this is pretty amazing. You'll notice what it's doing. It's converting this into a professional presentation of
Wow.
all the content.
It's wonderful, Bill. But
Oh,
In the very cheapo thing that I have, all I do is I say, take this document, make it inspiration so people will want to act on it, make it so that people really see it as realistic, and do that within 2 pages. I just put that in ChatGPT. I then cut and paste the document just under what I say, press the button, and out it comes.
Yeah. But the thing about it is you really have to learn to use deep research. It's free in Perplexity. It's for free. It's free in Grok. You can, I think, make 5 requests a day for deep research, and it will give you PhD level type research into whatever you're asking for, and then create a very professional document out of the result. If the document you think it's not as good as it could be, then you bring it over here and dump it into Canvas, and now you can enhance it even further, or ask it to highlight a particular point. And if you really want to go and let's think of what you're talking about, make it super inspirational, you take it to Claude 3.7, and now you can go in there and say, I want these people to be bouncing off the wall when they read this because it's going to get them so excited. You can have the tone for emotions and make it so strong for whatever your purpose is. Because you can say, my goal is that after reading this is what the people will be thinking. It will figure out how to write it in a way that will cause people to think what you want them to think when they're done.
It's amazing.
So
Yeah. Okay.
my question, I guess, is the next step, perhaps, can we use now this, pump it into, I don't know what AI system could do this, but to create the code and create the user interface, to actually just do it.
Actually,
Wonderful.
you're 100% right. And the answer is yes, there are tools that literally will create a flow chart, will create a mock-up here. I could ask it, but I'm in text mode right now in Canvas. If I hadn't specified yet, I could have come over here and said, make me a digital marketplace website. And it will make me a digital marketplace website.
Why not do that, Bill?
I don't have the time to do it now
put this out to the group, and then
No, that could be our next week's.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's
Yeah.
do for next week. We're going to go and see where I'm going to take this over and put this into Google Docs so we can share it with people. But I'm also going to go here and I'm going to click on it, even though we can't finish it. This says suggest edits. I just said, oh, okay, so let's let that cook here for the last couple of minutes. And what it's doing now is it's going to go through as if we had hired a bunch of experts to go through the document here and suggest improvements for whatever direction that we're looking to do. And so you can see it highlighted here, and it gave me a point of here. So it came up and said, oh, for this thing, consider elaborating on how refunds and disputes are handled, blah, blah, blah. And then I can hit apply, and it will incorporate that change into what we're talking about. Over here, it came up and it said, oh, it may help to clarify all the product and service categories are allowed or if there are restrictions beyond sustainability requirements. So these are.
Bill, if you'll upload it, then the next steps as we're discussing, load and just send the link in the SIFA plan and say for the next 7 days, please add your input.
Okay, we'll do that. Unfortunately, guys, I've got.
Yeah, I have to go too. Believe it or not.
Wonderful. I just want to say, Edward, you did some wonderful work in the WhatsApp. Could you add your points on Tara's?
Edward is not with us on the call today.
Is it?
Yeah.
He is now.
Oh, he is?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there. I just came
okay.
late. I came late because I thought it was usual time. Thanks.
Ah, there I see you. Okay, sorry, I wasn't able to. Oh, okay, I see we have some others there. Okay, so we will get this. I'll get this video out here hopefully this evening, and we'll work on the transcript. Lloyd, I may contact you for some help on that. But the main thing here is we're going to use these tools to continue to flesh out the functionalities list here so that the goal was to get something that we can hand over that Yvonne can hand to these wireframe builders, but we can
Yeah.
also in parallel, we'll actually just ask Claude Artifacts and ChatGPT Canvas to actually generate us a mock-up website that demonstrates the functionalities that we end up with in the list here. So
Yeah,
Wonderful.
and then we can get our members to
Yeah.
kind of play with it if they could.
great.
Yeah.
Yep. So I
Wonderful.
thank everybody for today. As I say, unfortunately, I have to run.
And also Joan for your leadership.
Ah,
Yes,
Wonderful
yes.
to see the rest of you. Edward, I would have loved to have seen you in the beginning. You gave so much good input, and it's lovely, George, you were there right from the beginning. And Fatima, we didn't actually hear you or see you, but it's lovely to have you on board.
Yeah.
so Edward, you'd add your comments from the
And the WhatsApp.
WhatsApp?
Yeah, I would wait here
Yes.
before adding further comments. Let me take the refined version here and put that up so we're not looking
Yeah.
at four different places that we can have one place to
Right, the same
okay.
document.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks
Great
everyone.
people.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye.